Can a single phrase destroy a political career? When Vice President J.D. Vance referred to Chinese peasants during what was supposed to be a routine campaign stop, he instantly transformed the political conversation and potentially altered the trajectory of the Trump administration's message. On China Today, we're exploring how 3 words ignited an international incident and why this controversy reveals much deeper tensions in American politics. It happened during what should have been a standard economic policy speech in Michigan. Vice President Vance, addressing manufacturing job losses, veered from his prepared remarks to deliver an apparently off-the-cuff comparison between American workers and what he termed Chinese peasants, who he claimed were taking jobs away from hard-working Americans. Within minutes, video clips of the remarks spread across social media platforms, generating millions of views and immediate backlash. The Chinese government responded swiftly, with a foreign ministry spokesperson calling the comments deeply offensive and reflecting a fundamental misunderstanding of modern China. The timing couldn't be worse. Just 3 weeks before scheduled high-level trade talks between U.S. and Chinese officials aimed at easing tensions in an increasingly fragile economic relationship. Long before entering politics, Vance built his public persona around his best-selling memoir, Hillbillyology, which chronicled his journey from a struggling, working-class background to Yale Law School. Former colleagues from Vance's venture capital days have pointed out that he previously advocated for strong economic ties with China, and even criticized what he once called simplistic, anti-China rhetoric. There's always been this fundamental question about whether Vance's pivot on China represents a genuine evolution in thinking or political expediency, explains political analyst Dr. Regina Hammond. This comment seems to have brought that question back to the forefront of public discussion. The administration's response revealed significant behind-the-scenes chaos within hours. White House Communications Director Marsha Sullivan issued a statement claiming Vance had been speaking about historical economic conditions and that his comments had been taken out of context by political opponents. That explanation quickly fell apart when full video of the remarks emerged. By evening, a visibly uncomfortable Vance appeared on Fox News to offer a partial walk back, stating he could have chosen better words while maintaining his core point about unfair trade practices. According to sources with knowledge of internal discussions, the president's senior advisors were split into 2 camps. Those arguing for a full apology and hardliners suggesting they double down on tough China rhetoric. President Trump has remained uncharacteristically silent, briefly stating that Vance speaks for himself, creating deliberate distance between them. Even more telling was Trump's canceled appearance at a scheduled joint event with Vance the following day, officially attributed to scheduling conflicts, but widely interpreted as a sign of presidential displeasure. Meanwhile, Vance's public schedule was suddenly cleared for what his office called previously planned meetings that sources say never existed on any official calendar. Actor and entrepreneur Daniel Day Kim posted a widely shared video response, calling the remarks a throwback to an earlier, uglier era of American politics and challenging Vance to spend time with Chinese American business owners and workers. Before painting with such a broad and inaccurate brush, conservative commentator Ann Coulter, typically an administration ally, surprised many by criticizing Vance, tweeting, "Economic nationalism doesn't need to resort to dated stereotypes. Focus on policies, not peasants." Meanwhile, Tesla CEO Elon Musk, who has extensive business interests in China, offered a characteristically enigmatic response, boasting, "Only words matter, context matters more. Results matter most." Several prominent Republican governors from states with significant trade relationships with China have issued carefully worded statements emphasizing the import of respectful engagement in international relations without directly mentioning Vance by name. This incident isn't occurring in isolation. Just last month, Vance faced criticism for comments about childless Americans having no stake in the future. And earlier this year, his remarks about coastal elites drew fire, given his own Yale education and venture capital background. There is a pattern emerging where Bannon seems to generate controversies that force the administration to play defense, notes political strategist Marcus Williams. The question now is whether this is simply his political style or a liability that's becoming too costly for the White House. Some political observers have begun suggesting growing distance between the president and vice president attendance. Records show Vance has been absent from several high-profile meetings where vice presidents typically participate, though administration officials insist this is due to his active campaign schedule. Chinese state media has given the comments extensive coverage, with English-language outlet Global Times publishing an editorial titled "American Leadership's Backward View of Modern China Reveals Deeper Problems." These comments couldn't come at a worse time, explains international economics professor Dr. Mei Jiang. With negotiations already on shaky ground, introducing this kind of rhetoric makes it harder for Chinese negotiators to make concessions without appearing to cave to American disrespect. Some American companies with significant Chinese market exposure have already reported concerns from their Chinese partners about potential backlash. 3 major U.S. manufacturing firms have delayed planned announcements about Chinese market expansion. According to industry sources, a Snap poll conducted after the controversy shows a significant 7-point drop in Vance's approval rating among independent voters, a crucial demographic in several battleground states. More concerning for the administration, the same poll shows decreased support among Asian American voters, a growing demographic that has been increasingly contested by both major parties in recent election cycles. What's particularly damaging about this kind of controversy is that it reinforces negative perceptions that were already Vance's biggest vulnerability, explains pollster Samantha Reeves. Our focus groups consistently show that voters who don't support Vance often cite concerns about authenticity. That said, online engagement metrics show increased positive interaction from users who frequently engage with economic nationalist content, suggesting the remarks may have resonance with voters already predisposed to tough rhetoric on China. What's often lost in these controversies is substantive discussion of the actual policy challenges, notes foreign policy expert Ambassador James Chan. There are legitimate concerns about trade imbalances, intellectual property theft, and human rights that get overshadowed when the conversation devolves to stereotypes and inflammatory language. Public opinion research shows Americans increasingly view China as an economic competitor or adversary rather than a partner, but also reveals nuanced views about the relationship. Large majority support economic cooperation on climate change and global health challenges, even while expressing concerns about military competition and trade practices. As this controversy continues to unfold, several key questions remain. Will the administration fully distance itself from Vance's remarks or double down on tough China rhetoric? How will this affect the upcoming trade negotiations? And perhaps most consequentially for domestic politics, is this a temporary distraction or a defining moment for Vance's political identity? What seems clear is that in an era of global interconnection and instant communication, words matter more than ever. Whether intentional or accidental, Vance's remarks have altered the conversation around U.S.-China relations and potentially complicated an already delicate diplomatic situation. For voters trying to understand America's place in a changing world, this controversy offers a reminder that how we talk about other nations reflects not just our foreign policy, but our values as a country. The debate sparked by these comments will likely continue long after the immediate news cycle has moved on to the next political firestorm.